people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and Merry Christmas Eve, guys. It's December 24th. This got here quick this week for me, because of all of Corona and stuff. Our Christmas break didn't start until yesterday, actually, and meaning I had to, yesterday for you guys. Tuesday I started to go to work, but we finally got out Wednesday for about 2 weeks, and then we got to go back, I think like January, 5th or something like that. But anyway, guys. Today we're going to be going through my top 5 picks for rank this go-round. Now, rank this go-round is at tier 8, and CVs are allowed. So this is an interesting ranked season. It's also the first season of the new ranked system, which is a bit confusing, to say the least. I thought I understood how it worked, but apparently they did a little bit more tweaking, and it's a little bit more, I don't know, confusing or just... How would you describe it? Just more diminutive, more nuanced, apparently, something like that. Played a couple rounds in it earlier, and yeah, it's something, all right. But that's another video for another day. So I'm just gonna go through my 5 picks for ranked. Keep in mind these are my picks coming from my experiences as a Warships player. So I've played a lot of battleships and cruisers, just now getting into destroyers, really. So that's what's going to make up the bulk of this list. Also, as always for my top 5 list, 1 does not necessarily mean that it's better than 5. It's just that they're all my 5 top picks. The only time that 1 is better than 5 is if I actually say, 5 is, the worst out of the lineup and 1's the best out of the lineup. But for the purpose of this video, all 5 in my eyes are pretty equal in terms of usability and ranked. Anyway, let's go ahead and get going. So coming in at number 5, we have the Tier 8 American aircraft carrier, the Enterprise. And as I go down this list, I will give you guys tech line alternatives that I think would fill in the role that I think these ships would fill in as well. So anyway, the Enterprise, I don't have to explain a whole lot about the Enterprise. It's probably the most broken premium ship or ship in general in the game. It is extremely powerful in a ranked setting with smaller teams. It's really friggin' powerful. So the Enterprise has amazing AP bombers. If you guys have never been struck by an Enterprise flight of AP bombers, consider yourself very, very, very lucky. She has AP bombs, and good God, 1 flight of these AP bombs has the potential to wipe out a tier 8 cruiser. Maybe not flat out, right, but can remove most of their health in one go, and that is frightening to say the least. Her rocket planes are also very, very, very good at making a destroyer's day very, very, very miserable. Her torpedo planes are also incredibly strong as well. There's no real downside to her planes besides, well, they're kind of slow. They're not even the slowest, they're just kind of slow. I've played a lot of German CVs mostly, and well, going to the Enterprise does feel like I'm playing a turtle, but a turtle that's carrying a rocket launcher, So it's got that going for it right there. Throw on top of that the regenerated of the planes, and simply, unless you are straight up flying directly through flak and flying above AA cruisers, you are going to be able to do quite fine in Enterprise. The only time it really struggles when I play it is when we get double up tier to tier 10, and then you have me, who's already not that good of a CV player, playing a tier 8 CV in a tier 10 game. And even in a tier 10 game, I really don't lose planes in Enterprise unless I keep attacking like a Minotaur or a Wooster or some type of AA cruiser or something like the Holland. Other than that, it's pretty easy to do just fine in Enterprise no matter what the situation. So, of course, ranked, when you want the best performance out of your ship, you would want to take this if you have it, and if you're a good CV player, then you can easily rank out with the Enterprise. Tech line alternative would be something that probably like the tier 8 German CV, the Parzival, because German AP bombs go blitzkrieg, yeah. And good God, if you've never played a German CV or have been on the receiving end of German CV's AP bombs, then again, consider yourself very, very lucky. They're kind of nutso. And plus, with the Parzival, you do get the AP rockets, which, if you catch a cruiser broadside, you're going to ruin their day, potentially remove around half their health if you get a really good salvo off there. Also, the torpedoes on the Parzival are very, 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 very good as well, especially for dealing with DDs. They're very fast, they don't do a lot of damage, but you can easily get good, consistent hits on cruisers and battleships, and also deal with DDs with these torpedoes. So those are my recommendations for number 5. Moving on down now to number 4, we have the Tier 8 American battleship, the Massachusetts. Well, Massachusetts is still available. It will be available until February of 2021, so you still got roughly around 2 months to go and pick her up. If you do have Massachusetts, she's a fantastic ship. 9 16-inch guns, American 16-inch guns, with American gun arts and American shell velocity, which is a blessing and a curse. The low shell velocity of the Massachusetts means that when these big old 16-inch shells impact on cruisers, you will get more pins and citadels than over pins, because the shells aren't moving that fast. Plus, at longer ranges, she has fantastic plunging fire, just like the Alabama and the North Carolina. Add on top of that an amazing hill, an amazing cooldown on that hill as well, and amazing cooldown on their damage con with the good American damage con that runs for 25 seconds. And while this damage con is running, no fires or flood can occur. And then on top of that, add in her secondaries. Massachusetts has amazing secondaries for an American battleship. You can get them out to around 11 kilometers. Then the rate of fire is also incredibly high. Same with the accuracy, as you should be seeing right now. The accuracy on these secondaries is just absolutely friggin' nuts. They're lasers. Add on top of that, fantastic AA, some of the best AA for its tier. And then also add on top of that the maneuverability and then the torpedo protection that the Massachusetts gets at 45% torpedo damage reduction, and also a nice little maneuverable battleship. This ship packs one heck of a punch, and it's one of the best premiums in the game in my opinion, and it's constantly vying for my favorite ship in the game. Tough little American battleship, fantastic ship. Highly recommend you guys purchase it, not just for rank but for random battles as well. Downsides are that her guns are not all that accurate. Basically, someone took a sledgehammer to like the rangefinder or something in the Massachusetts, and her guns are more along the lines of German battleship guns, but it still gets American dispersion. The shells will exit the barrel, but unlike German battleships where the shells go all over the place, the shells in the Massachusetts don't really move around all that much. Now, every now and then you do, of course, get the funky salvo because RNG tells you no, but it's a nice, good, consistent set of main battery guns. And Massachusetts is just a ship that has refused to be slammed in by the meta. It's a very, very strong battleship, a fantastic battleship, one that I feel will do pretty good in ranked, especially with that AA and her secondaries and her main battery guns. If you don't have a Massachusetts, you could go with the North Carolina, the American Tier 8 battleship. It is a bit squishy, but if you play it right, bow in toward the target, just using your front 2 turrets, forgetting that the 3rd turret exists, it can do well. And it does have, again, very good AA, and that's what I was going for this spot, more of an AA battleship, and the Massachusetts just fills in all the parameters needed for this slot. You could also take an Alabama too if you have that. That is a premium ship. And the Richelieu has pretty good AA, but the main guns aren't very accurate. So I would probably just stick with North Carolina in that instance. Alright, moving on down now to number 3, we have the Tier 8 Premium German Cruiser, the Prinz Eugen. So the Prinz Eugen has everything the Hipper has, but a heel. So it's a Hipper, but good. And it's nice to be able to, if you guys don't know, the Hipper, it just eats pins from like the weirdest angle. It's normally pretty big pins. Other than that, it's a pretty darn good cruiser. The Prinz Eugen fixes that by just giving it a heal and increasing the reload time of the main battery guns. And plus the Prinz Eugen has pretty darn good AA. Back in the day before the AA rework, or the CV rework, she was one of the best AA cruisers in the game, believe it or not, and so was Hindenburg if you had AA spec Hindenburg. And that's carried over a bit still today into what Warships is now. She's still a pretty good AA ship. The match we're watching right now, the Midway actually went to fly toward us, and I opened up on him, and he just left us alone for the rest of the match, which I thought was pretty darn funny. I think he might have come back once or twice, but he didn't stick around for too long. Plus, he does get a fighter plane as well. And again, this is going to be a pretty heavy CV season since it's at Tier 8, and there's a lot of Tier 8 CVs out there. So, on top of all of that, she does still get German HE, which means you get the lovely German HE pin ratio, which means there's not a whole lot that you're going to encounter that you can't pin with your guns, with your HE. So you got that going for you as well. If you don't have the Prinz Eugen, something like the Cleveland would probably do pretty good. It's got that good old American super heavy AP, and it does have pretty darn good AA and radar to boot. Other than that, you can maybe go with the British option, one of the British Tier 8 cruisers, either the light or heavy, if you want to still bring something with pretty good AA as well. Alright, moving on down now to number 2. We have the Tier 8 Premium Russian battleship, the Lenin. The Lenin was a ship that I did not expect to do well last time ranked was at Tier 8 because of its lack of AA. But the main guns on the Lenin are just so friggin' nice that it just makes up for it, and you just take the hits from the CVs. So the Lenin has 9 16-inch guns, 16-inch Soviet guns, which just hurt so much at close range. On top of that, too, she has her guns all 4 of her superstructure like the Nelson, which means you can just sit there, either just bow on or slightly angled if you want to get that third turret off, and most of your firepower is on target. You don't have to worry about showing broadside, which you shouldn't do in the Lenin anyway, because she has a very brittle broadside, and yeah, you don't want to get caught with that. Like I mentioned, one of her downsides is that she does not have very much AA. She does have a fighter, and fighters are, well, we all know how fighters are. Sometimes they work, most of the time they don't work, but when they do work, they're pretty effective. However, Lenin can't depend upon that fighter just by itself because CV is going to work its way through to you anyway. Add on to that you can get Kuznetsov on here with his Will to Victory talent, where he just refuses to die once your ship gets below 10% health. You get a bonus damage con and heal. Also, speaking of damage con, she does have the Soviet damage con, which means she has a very quick cooldown time on her damage con. However, the amount of charges that she get is very limited. But in a ranked battle, ranked battles are typically on the shorter side most of the times. Of course, they go a little bit longer every now and then. But you probably won't run out. I don't really run out in random battles too much, but I'm pretty stingy with my damage cons, especially with the Soviet ones. But if you balance your damage cons and heal, you'll do pretty fine in the Lenin. Oh, also turret number 2 in the Lenin can 360. The Ismo can't do that. The Nelson can't do that, but Lenin can do that. So it's even better for being a battleship with all of its guns shoved in front of the superstructure. An alternative to Lenin would probably best be the Vladivostok. It has 16-inch guns just like the Lenin, same amount as well, but the Vladivostok's a very big ship. Third turret is in the back. You do have to show off a bit of broadside to get that turret off, and that does require you to expose your citadel. Not that the Lenin doesn't have a big citadel, so that it has to expose less of it in order to get that third turret off. But Vladivostok would be a solid alternative to the Lenin, and it has AA as well, much better AA than the Lenin. Alright, moving on down now to number 1, we have, whatever you are comfortable in. Ranked is supposed to be the competitive part of World of Warships, which means you need to bring what you are most comfortable in. Doesn't matter that some people may say it's out of meta, it doesn't work anymore, it's been power crept. If you can still perform well in it, bring it! Surprise people all that much more. That's why for the past year, anytime you see a Khabarovsk player, at least anytime I saw a Khabarovsk player in match, I was scared. Because if that guy is still playing Khabarovsk in the state that it was in before the last patch, he must be a god, So if you're good in it, if you're comfortable in it, bring it. If it's an Amagi, if you're good in Amagi, bring it. If it's Benson, bring it. If it's Bismarck, bring it. If it's an Odin, bring it. Doesn't matter as long as you're comfortable in it. I'm not talking about having, you know, super unicum stats in it or whatever, but if you feel comfortable in that ship, you know how that ship works, you know how that ship ticks and talks, you know how that ship performs, the angles, the pins, what parts of other ships you need to aim at, what you can and can't pin, you know your ship's limitations, bring it, does not matter what it is. Again, anything from a Vanguard to a Roma even, if you're comfortable in it and you know what's up with that ship, bring it. Impress people. You don't have to have one of these ships to do good in ranked. And, you know, that's what I've been seeing a lot of these videos that I do when I do these, you know, top 5 or whatever ships for ranked or this mode or that mode. These are just my suggestions to you guys. These are ships that I think would perform well in that mode. You don't need these ships to do well. If you're good enough in whatever ship you have, that's all that matters. I mean, again, some of the most terrifying people that you'll meet in World of Warships are people playing out of meta ships because they've played so much of them and they know how to make them tick that it's just spooky to watch them murder your team. A ship that so many people says, you know, is out of meta, has been power crept, this, that, and the other. So whatever you are comfortable in, bring it to rank and just go for it, because what's the worst that can happen? It's just a video game anyway, and ranked is a really stressful, really stressful game mode. So you might as well, of course, bring a ship that you know that you're comfortable in, that you know, again, know all of its quirks and features to where you can get it to perform the best in that game mode, rather than having to, you know, pick up a premium ship that you've only played like 4 battles in randoms and have to go play it in ranked. That is absolutely not what you want to do. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hope you're having a wonderful Christmas Eve and you're going to get to spend some time with your family as best you can in this crazy year that is 2020. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subs. We just passed 21,000 not that long ago. Again, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.